Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be getting into how to make sure that you keep your job and that you also grow and get promoted in your job. Now, you may ask, who is this guy? Talking about keeping his job and promotions. Well, in my work career, I've gotten promoted over 5+ times. And each time I can attribute it to a few different factors that I'm able to replicate every different job that I start. I understand that times right now are a bit uncertain. There's a lot of layoffs happening. AI is replacing a lot of things. There's budget cuts. But typically the people to go first are the people who just aren't a good fit. So what would be number one? You want to make sure that you're doing the bare minimum when you go to work. You want to make sure that your attire is appropriate for the work environment. You don't have any stains, your grooming game is on point. It makes a difference. Also, when you go in, you want to be pleasant. You want to go in, say good morning. You want to talk briefly to your coworkers, talk briefly to your boss. You want to bring positivity to the environment. Then you also want to make sure that you're arriving on time. Typically, you want to be the first one there and the last one to leave. And I know that some people are going to say, no, work-life balance. This is not the time to be worrying about work-life balance. Things are tough. So you want to make sure that you're being recognized for being a hard worker, that you're the first one in, the last one out. So I consider those three to be like the bare minimum things. Once you have those things aside, then you want to move on to the next step. So the next thing would be build a good relationship with your boss. You want to make sure that you're always trying to see or anticipate where your boss is at. Maybe your boss is having a hard time with a project, but if you're able to pick that up, you could be like, hey, listen, is there anything maybe I can help you with? Anything I can take off your plate? I'll be more than happy to help out. If not today, then please let me know. Feel free to keep me in mind and I got you. And when your boss feels comfortable enough to put something on your plate or to trust you with something, make sure you deliver, because that's crucial. Once you start to build that trust with your boss, you're going to be the go-to person. Think about it this way. If you're the go-to person that your boss is always thinking about, like, I can't let him go, I need him. So you'll definitely be the last person to be laid off if it ever happens, or the first person to be in their mind when they're thinking, who is it that I feel like is ready to grow and to be promoted? It's gonna be him, because he's been doing a lot of the work. He's been assuming more responsibility and continues to see more opportunities to grow. So again, you want to make sure that your boss always has you in mind by making sure that you're present, you're always checking in on them, trying to take stuff off of their plate, making sure that you're adding value to your boss and to the company, right? A person who's adding value, you removing them would just not make sense, because then you would be removing the value from the company itself. The next thing you want to do, number 3, is you always want to ask, how can you improve? And this is crucial, because a lot of people aren't a good cultural fit when they're not able to take constructive criticism. This is key. Now, I'm not saying that somebody's telling you in a disrespectful way, you're supposed to be okay with that. But if somebody's giving you criticism and there's actually merit to it, then you want to make sure that you're absorbing the information, and that once you finish that meeting, you want to take some time to let it sink in, and you want to come up with a plan on how you're going to improve so that it doesn't happen again. Because if you're constantly being told you have to improve on something and yet you're not, it's showing that you don't care. It's just not a good look. So you want to make sure that you're accepting the feedback, but you're also implementing the changes to ensure that the feedback is received and that you can continue to grow and move forward. Because let's say, for example, if you're having an issue where maybe the way you're writing emails at work isn't professional, so you fix that issue, you don't have that problem anymore. So essentially you've grown from that. So now it's getting feedback on what would be the next piece for you to be a better employee. And you want to make sure that that's always a continuous cycle. You always want to be improving, always want to be growing. And then the next part. So as you're taking more responsibility on, you're helping your bosses more, you're taking the feedback and constructive criticism, and you're making the changes. Number 3 would be keep a list of all of your accomplishments, how you've grown, and you want to save those receipts. This is important because then when it comes time for you to ask for a raise, this is going to be your proof. Go through that list and come with those receipts and indicate, hey, listen, during our last performance review, these were the goals that I set. This is how much I'm bringing to the company. This is how much the productivity has grown. This is what I've done. So you're able to substantiate the reason why a promotion or even a raise would make sense. It's like sales. You want to make sure that you're selling yourself, which is you're the product. So you're selling this to your boss or to a company so that they can consider, you know what, he really did a lot for the company. He's brought in a lot more revenue. He's doubled the productivity. Let's go ahead and promote him. With that being said, though, this is going to be number 4. And you got to be sometimes okay with walking away. You tried, and that maybe it might be time to go somewhere else. Because sometimes a promotion might not be within the same company, but you may look for other opportunities to grow. And another company might be willing to give you the shot and get you that promotion that you're seeking. And I know sometimes that can be a little bit scary for you to take that jump. But sometimes if you're like 50 or 60% of the way there in terms of like knowledge, you're doing the day-to-day, you can pick up the other 40 to 50% while you're doing the job. Or sometimes you can be even honest with the actual company, like, hey, listen, this is where I'm currently at. I'm really good with learning on the job. I'm very good at accepting criticism and implementing them quickly. And a lot of companies might be willing to take the chance on you. But you have to be okay with selling yourself and learning to walk away, because at some point you'll be able to realize if you've outgrown the place. Because sometimes that does happen. You've already absorbed as much information as you can. Maybe your boss isn't that great. You do have sometimes bosses where they don't want to see you grow because they may be fearful that you may take their job. That's also a thing. So at that point, you may want to start looking for other opportunities. So those are the 4 things that will help you keep your job, get raises or promotions. So just to recap them, number 1, do the bare minimum. Number 2, keeping your boss in mind. You're always taking stuff off of your boss's plate. You're adding value. Number 3, keeping those receipts and using them to ask for promotions or raises when the time comes. And then number 4, identifying if you're able to continue to grow or when it's time to go. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I've been able to use this multiple times and I've been able to get multiple promotions throughout different jobs. So I hope that this works for you as well. With that being said, guys, I want to just thank you for watching the video. Please leave any comments. Make sure to like, subscribe. Hope you have a great day.